Today I want to show you the Singer Model 66 sewing machine. This is a very nice machine. It's got a lot of nice decorative decals on it. These machines were made from about 1905 till about 1960. They went through a few minor changes over the course of the production. Of course, this is one of the earlier machines. It uses a knob to vary the stitch length. It stitches forwards only, there's no reverse stitch. Some of the later machines made in the 40s and later have a lever that allows you to vary the stitch length forward and do some short stitching going backwards. But most of the 66s made have this type of stitch regulator, which isn't a big deal. There's quite a few ways around that problem. The 66 also uses the 66 class bobbin. And here are 3 examples of 66 class bobbins. This is what the original metal bobbins look like. These are current production metal bobbins, and I have a few words to say about them. And then these are the current production plastic bobbins, which, in addition to fitting the 66 machine, fit several other machines. I'm not going to discuss any of them. I'm just going to say that this works very well. This works very well. I don't know if it's the batch of these that I have. These do not work. They are out of round slightly and they jam up in the bobbin case. Now, I've had these a while. The ones that are produced now, that problem might be solved. But I would be skeptical of spending a lot of money for these. I would get a hold of some and test them out first before buying any. And there's no reason to buy these, really. You pretty much have to buy these online. These you can go to any fabric store or Walmart or a variety of other stores and buy these bobbins, and they work just fine. These are a little harder to find, but they're still out there, and of course the quality on these is excellent, and they always seem to work as long as they've not been damaged. So in order to use your machine, you have to wind thread onto the bobbin and then insert it into the machine. So let's discuss that first. These machines have a fully automatic bobbin winder that, unlike the bobbin winders on a lot of newer machines, do a very nice job of winding the thread onto the bobbins. And to use the winder, we first need to get this fork all the way over as far as it will go. On the underside of this gear is a cam, and this follower here on the end of this tail of the lever follows that cam and forces it to move back and forth. So we'll press this down to engage it on the pulley wheel. And connect up our hand crank here. run it until it's over as far as it will go. Okay, looks about right. We'll release it back up. Okay, now to do the thread. So I've got a spool of thread on here. Run it over to this thread guide. And then run it back to the bobbin winder. Okay, so since it's hard to do one-handed off camera, I prepared the bobbin with the thread. On these other style bobbins, you see they have just a single hole. On these recent production metal bobbins, they have 3 large holes and then the small hole here. You want to put the thread through the small hole. And then on the other side of the bobbin is another small hole. And on the bobbin winder is a pin, and that pin is going to engage that small hole. So we'll take our bobbin here, the side that doesn't have the thread going out, and when you get it lined up with the pin, it will slip on like that, and then we're going to push down like such. Okay, so that keeps the bobbin from slipping off. Now we can take the thread here and run it through the thread guides like so. Oops. Okay, and then this is our tail here. Okay, when you get it all threaded up and ready to go, it's going to look like this. You're going to have a spool of thread. It's going to run to that front thread guide. It's going to run down to the thread guide near the pivot of the arm. And then it's going to run up to the fork in the arm and then onto the bobbin. Now, when this bobbin winder is running, it's going to rotate this way, like this. Obviously I can't do this because I'm holding a camera, but what you would do is you would operate the hand crank with one hand. You would hold onto this thread with the other and get the bobbin started. Then you could break the thread off or wait till you're done winding it and cut it off. But I'm going to run it over slowly since I'm doing this one-handed to get some thread started on the bobbin. If you tried to do this, just start it off, probably this thread would just pull right out because there wouldn't be enough friction there to keep it. Once there's a few wraps on there, there is enough friction though, you can go ahead and pull it off and break it like that. And then run it and wind your bobbin. Now I'm not going to wind very much onto this bobbin because these bobbins are junk. Now it might just be the batch of bobbins that I've got. You know, they're probably made in China. But they will not work in any of my 66 class machines or my 99 class machines. I'll do a video on a Singer 99. You'll see they're basically the same machine. If I was winding the bobbin full, there's an automatic release that as the thread accumulates on the spool, it gradually pushes on this finger here until it causes the winder to pop up, and then that means you're done. So that's how the bobbins are wound. Okay, for the rest of this demonstration, I'm just going to use some cheap dollar store thread because it works just fine on this machine. Got a spool right here. Put it on this thread guide here. Going to run it between the two tension discs. Keep pulling it back until it slips past the spring. It's like that. Under that, I'm going to rotate the machine so that the take-up lever is as high as it will go. Take my thread and continue on. Go through the take-up lever like so. Through the thread guide on the front. Through the thread guide at the bottom of the needle bar bearing sleeve. And then finally, left to right through the eye of the needle. Okay, that's the upper thread set up and ready to go. Now for the lower thread. Pull this slide out. There's where the bobbin goes. I'm going to use this bobbin here. I'll show you which way this goes. The thread leads off like that. That's all there is to that. Okay. I'm going to put something on the upper thread to keep it from pulling off. I'm going to rotate the machine through one full stroke. Okay. Now when I take hold of the upper thread and pull it to the front, it's going to pull the lower thread up, just like that. And it remains a simple matter to use an instrument to bring it up like that. Okay, now we're ready to sew. Now I'm not a sewer. I'm interested in the mechanical and the historical aspects of sewing machines. They're fascinating bits of technology, and they're also useful around the house. Ripping a pair of pants or sewing a button on, but as far as doing anything else, I don't. And our test fabric here is going to be one that I use pretty frequently. It's a scrap of green felt that I use when I'm refelting the base of an electric fan, such as this Emerson fan here. So we'll just take the felt here and place it on the edge there, such. Lower the presser foot down. And then operating the hand crank here, as you can see, the machine is going to stitch the fabric together. Okay, we're going to turn the corner. If I wasn't holding a camera, I could use both hands. I could use one hand to guide the fabric and keep that in a straight line or whatever other pattern I need to follow, and manipulate the hand crank with the other hand, controlling the speed and the stopping and going of the machine pretty effortlessly. Of course, it'll sew really fast too, just like a modern machine. Turn another corner here. Come back. When I do a video of a machine in a treadle cabinet, it'll be a lot easier because I'll at least be able to use a hand to guide the fabric. Okay. Okay, we'll stop with the needle bar at its highest point. Raise the presser foot. Pull the fabric back, and I don't have a functional thread cutter on this machine. I have the stub of one. I've got a parts machine with one, so I can fix that. I just haven't. But there you go. Let's inspect our work. It does straight stitches, and it does straight stitches very well. And it takes very little effort to get everything adjusted. We'll do a little demonstration of how the stitching mechanism works here. We can put this up against the edge, like so. Open the slide plate, and then we'll slowly run the machine over. You can see the type of stitching mechanism is known as an oscillating hook. This part right here is the hook. You may have noticed this red piece of felt right here. That is a wick. You saturate that with oil, and that oils the surface here. The bobbin sits in a case that is floating on the hook. Some machines, the hook is removable, and those are that's known as a shuttle then, when it's removable. This one here is fixed in the machine. It's not removable. Very, very simple mechanism. Okay. Well, that's about it. You've seen about everything. I'll probably do a separate video going over maintenance of antique sewing machines. Yes, the other thing to show you is how easy it is to take the bobbin out to change the lower thread. That's pretty simple. Just get that up to the highest point. All you do is withdraw that slide cover, press down on this button right here, and that raises the bobbin up to where you gotta do is push it, grab it with your finger, and pull it out. Then you can put another bobbin in. Change your lower thread very quickly. Much simpler than on a shuttle machine, threading another shuttle and inserting it into the machine. I'm going to do another video of a sewing machine here. It'll be a shuttle machine because they're pretty interesting machines. Most of the machines I have are shuttle machines. I find them a little bit more interesting. Alright. So this isn't going to be the only video on sewing machines, and I'm sure those of you watching will have some questions. We'll go over the care and feeding of the machines in another video. Types of oils to use. Other things like that. So, thank you for watching.